This week I've been driving the 25 Jeep Willys 4xe. It's a throwback to the 1941 Willys MB. We have this olive green color. We also have these drab blue accents around this vehicle. It starts around $61,000. This one's optioned over 70, but guys, stay to the end because we're gonna put this on a spreadsheet compared to other vehicles I've tested this year, but we're also gonna look for deals on this truck. You guys are gonna be surprised how much I've really been enjoying this Jeep this week. All right, so let's get into it. The 1941 Special Edition Willys only comes with the plug-in hybrid. So we have 375 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque, 2-liter, mated to an 8-speed auto. With the electrification, there's about a 17 kilowatt-hour battery pack here. It's rated at 20 miles, or should I say 21 miles of fully electric range, but I've been able to stretch it out to 25 miles of electric range in town. All right, so we have these beautiful 17-inch alloy wheels that are matte, and I wish the rest of this olive paint color was matte as well. I think that would be a better throwback, but it is what it is. I still like how it looks. Now, these are not steel wheels like the original Willys. And then we have standard metal bumpers on the front and the back, which is quite nice. 1941 decal. This is what they call drab blue. It just looks like gray to me. Those decals, they hardly stand out. They're just kind of light accents. You even have it down here underneath the Jeep logo. All right, this is where you plug in. It only takes me about 4 hours to charge this battery up. A little Jeep climbing, little Willys in there climbing. That's cute. Only 4 hours to charge this up. You have sliders there underneath the doors as well. Massive 33-inch tires. And as we come to the rear, love the tire on the back, classic Jeep. We also have some accents under here. Let's get out of the sun. You can see the drab blue 4xe there, 4-wheel drive in that same color. And we got that beautiful tire here on the back to let everyone know you're in a Willys edition. All right, now we also have this unique logo here. All right, modern JL, and then you have the MB on the left, built in Toledo, Ohio since 1941. Let's pop the glass. You know, it only comes in a 4-door as well, and that means more cargo space. Now the seats don't fold flat. However, I was still able to put a ton of moving boxes in here. I was able to pick them up and use this kind of as a pickup truck. All right, big Alpine sub in the back. The sound system's pretty decent in here. 12-volt accessory power. Now, it would have been nice to have more accessory power back here, but you can always get the adapter that plugs in the where the car charges. Watch my review of one of my last 4xes that I had a few years ago. That did an amazing job supplying power to e-bikes and electric grill and stuff. All right, so going into the back, it is a bit of a jump for the kids. My youngest that's been getting in here is 4, but they love climbing in the Jeep without assistance. It's kind of like a a monumental task for them that they enjoy accomplishing. All right, 4xe logo here. Gotta love these rubber mats. Window controls here, of course, because you can remove the doors, vents in the back, speakers above, and this has the retractable roof with one touch, which is quite cool. We'll go ahead and open that here when we're driving it and reviewing it today. And it's actually been a lot of fun to take the kids to school this week in this truck. All right, before we get too much on the interior, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the shade. All right, backing her up. Pretty high resolution camera here, not a 360 camera, but that's okay. And we're just gonna do a terrible parking job and throw it into park and talk about this interior. You know, this is kind of like that army tan. I like these seats a lot, these cloth seats. No, they're not ventilated, but guys, it's hot as heck here in Florida, and I haven't once thought about needing ventilated seats because these breathe just so well and they're very, very comfy. You also have this unique dash here for the 1941, and it continues over on this side. You also have the 1941 here on the shifter, heated seats, heated steering wheel, volume knob, climate control knob, tuning knob. I mean, I'm happy in here. You also have what's unique to the 4xe models. Again, this vehicle standard in 4xe, have the option of having regen braking. I've had this on all week and I really like it. It's not one pedal driving, but it really reduces the amount I need to use the brake pedal in here. So love it, really enjoy it. I have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto in this, of course. I have just plug it in through this area. I wouldn't be surprised if it's wireless. I love the traditional parking brake. That makes me happy. Armrest has been great. You also have 2 layers of storage, another USB connection in there, and that's a data port too. Steering wheel's been pretty fantastic. There's nothing special about it for 1941, unfortunate. Oh, and I want to show you guys the startup screen. Let's go and turn this off. All right, startup screen. You can see since 1941, you got the Willys in there, the original MB. So super cool. I love that small attention to detail on the dash for that unique startup screen that you won't get in any other Jeep. All right, one press and the roof opens up. My daughters have liked it this week, and in the back, I mean, they just get blasted by the wind. All right, so up here with the roof open, I don't get any wind blast, but back there, they're just absolutely destroyed by the wind, and it's kind of funny, but they don't like it that much. With that being said, let's go and start driving the Willys 1941 edition in this Wrangler 4xe. I don't know if you guys saw that pink McLaren, but that was pretty special. And I've been loving driving this Jeep this week. It is not perfect. It has a lot of compromise to it, but to be honest, I've also had a Mazda CX-30 for review this week, and once I finished reviewing that, like, I had no interest in driving it compared to this Jeep. I love how high I'm sitting in here. I love the comfort. I love the flexibility of this powertrain. Just plug it in between dropping the kids off, you know, 25 miles of range. It's not world beating for a plug-in hybrid, but you know what? Like, assuming you don't have to do tons of long distance runs on your daily, meaning over 20, 30 miles, then this powertrain is going to be great for you. All right, this is, you know, the 4xe wouldn't make sense if you're commuting long distance, and in fact the Jeep doesn't make sense as a long distance commuter anyways, any Jeep. All right, it's loud once you get like over 50 miles an hour, especially with the soft top roof. I mean, the door seals are not absolutely perfect when I hit some rough road, but that's all forgiven because I love the looks of it. I love how this thing drives. It's just super soft and floaty, very luxurious feeling. All right, this handles better than I remember most Jeeps handling. The last Jeep I think I drove was the Gladiator, and the steering was so bad in it, like it just wandered all over the place. And maybe that had like bigger tires, maybe that had 35s on that Rubicon I tested or something, but the 33s here feel like the perfect match for this vehicle. Now, some of you might be saying, Kirk, this is not doing service to the Willys, because the Willys was a basic low-cost option. There's no manual. You know, why can't we get this with the manual and the V6? Well, from what I hear, the manual that Stellantis has can't handle the torque of the V6 or the turbo, one of the two. What are you doing, Mercedes? Jeez Louise, why are you in such a hurry? Holy cow. Anyways, I don't know what's going on and why they didn't put a manual with it. I don't care. I mean, you go get your base Wrangler and put Steelies on it if you want to make it an MB, all right, or as MB-like as possible. Modern Wranglers, a JL, is nothing like the original MB Willys. So this is just saying like, hey, I see you, brother, in the past, and I'm going to put on a nice costume to kind of, you know, doing my homage, but it's nothing like a Willys MB, which my uncle actually has, like a 52, I think it is, a Willys MB. I think I've only ridden in it once when I was a kid, but anyways, he still has it. So this has some of a nostalgia pull to me, some childhood memories, but nothing crazy. I like this paint color. I like the wheels. I like how this truck looks. I like how it drives. But is it worth the $60,000 starting price? And the answer is, well, we'll get into that. I think it is, if you can get it on discount. All right. Now, what else about this truck that I like? Well, I like the flexibility of doing hybrid, electric, or e-save. Now, I used e-save this morning because I took my kids to school. I didn't want to run out of electric range for this review. So far, I've been completely in electric. So if you're driving mostly in and around town, this thing is awesome. As a beach cruiser, it's awesome as a city Jeep because of the electrification, like the engine. And here's the thing, even if I am in electric mode here, if I do pedal down, full pedal down, the engine kicks on, and it goes. And you know, the 375 horsepower, it's not world beating considering how heavy this thing is. All right, but it is a fantastic powertrain. Do I wish I had more electric range for the cost? Absolutely. I think 30, 40, 50 miles, the more the better of electric range here on this Jeep. But I really like this powertrain. In fact, I like it a lot better, this powertrain, than the Land Cruiser's powertrain, the Land Cruiser J250 that we have in the United States. I'm getting about the same fuel economy compared to the Land Cruiser hybrid versus this when I'm in hybrid mode here. I'm getting around 20 miles per gallon. I think the Land Cruiser that I tested was 21, 22. It's pretty much negligible. However, when you're running on electric, it's not very efficient. I think it's somewhere around like 1.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which is really, really bad. Am I giving it a free pass for being highly inefficient? Maybe, but I still enjoy how it drives in electric mode. It's quiet, it's smooth, it's predictable. I like the regen braking. It is fantastic and really brings this vehicle to a stop nice and predictably without using the brakes, all right, or using the brake pedal, I should say. There's no weirdness with this powertrain either. I haven't had any awkward shifts. I haven't had any clunkiness. It's just been very, very refined and smooth, just like how this ride quality is with these massive tires and the suspension. The rear suspension feels really soft, which is fine. It's kind of comical how much you bounce around. And the front suspension's obviously a bit stiffer for better handling characteristics. But overall, as I watched this crow with some sort of nut in its mouth, like, I have just been super happy with this vehicle. Maybe it's because where I live. You know, I live in a beautiful beach town. I can open the top. I can get that, you know, convertible. I can get that off-road. I can get my hybrid all into one vehicle. It just comes at a cost. All right, so let's head into the office. If we can get this for a good deal, is it going to be worth it? I absolutely think so. So let's go into the office. All right, looking around my area, you can find some Wrangler 4xe models in the low 50s. Guys, and these are like, this one's a Willys too. It's just not the special 1941 edition that I was driving, and it has the clout, in my opinion, to go ahead and get this model. Mine was optioned over 70K. Not all of them are optioned that high, but I don't care. Like this, you can get the Willys on discount, at least where I live, for in the mid 50s. And I think that's an incredible deal. Now this one, it's potentially as low, it's not even labeled properly. It's potentially as low as $50,000, guys, at the MSRP at 64. So we're seeing almost a 15 grand drop in price on these vehicles. And yes, this is the plug-in hybrid Willys here. Like, I think it is an incredible buy with the discounts we're seeing. At MSRP, absolutely, I think it's an okay buy. But let's get to the spreadsheet. Where am I putting the Jeep Wrangler Willys? I should put Willys in here too. It's a long name, right? Oh, I think it's an excellent purchase. If you can get it well under MSRP, it's an excellent purchase. It's just a fantastic vehicle. I don't know exactly where to put it in here. It doesn't really matter, but it's an A-tier vehicle. Call it heresy. I enjoy driving it more than the Land Cruiser, the Toyota Land Cruiser. You might be calling that heresy, but I just do. You know, the Toyota, last time I drove it, now my opinion can change if they fix it. It's just the powertrain doesn't feel, it never felt refined enough for a Toyota. All right, especially for a Toyota hybrid with the 2.4 turbo in the J250 Land Cruiser. Okay, so what do I think? It's a fun, looks awesome. Okay. And it's versatile. Okay, I know I need to move this, but I just have really enjoyed driving it this week. Simple as that. And if I really enjoy driving a vehicle, and I prefer to get in it over any other car that I've been driving recently, it's minimum A tier, if not S tier. In the past, that hasn't been the case for many of the Jeeps I've been driving. Maybe the Rubicons I've driven in the past just didn't feel right. Maybe they didn't handle quite right. Maybe the tires were too big. I'm not quite sure. But this Jeep felt just right to me. I have a couple final things I want to talk about because I didn't mention it while I was driving. You know,
there's a little power gauge in the instrument cluster, and once you go over 50% power, the engine will kick on essentially. All right. And it's only got, I want to say it's somewhere around 130 horsepower for the electric motor assist. With the gasoline engine, it'll also do 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. It's properly quick when the engine's chipping in. But when you're in full electric, it can only give you about 134 horsepower, which is, I think, just the bare minimum to keep up with traffic. And that's fairly brisk traffic as well. All right. And if you need to go faster, just put your foot down a little bit more. The engine will kick in and then you're off to the races. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of Volvo's plug-in hybrid powertrains. Obviously, this is rear-wheel drive bias and the Volvo ones are front-wheel drive bias, but they behave very similarly, around 130 horsepower to the rear wheels when in full electric. And then when the gasoline engine chips in, it becomes a rocket. It's not quite as fast as the Volvos. Those are like 4.5 seconds, 0 to 60. But this is a Jeep we're talking about, and it's an absolute blazer. It's not quite as fast as the 392s, I don't believe. But it is just as fun to drive for different reasons, of course. And so I mentioned it has about a 17 kilowatt hour battery. I think that's total battery. Usable battery is only about 14 kilowatt hours. So if I'm getting 25 divided by 14, it's still 1.8 miles per kilowatt hour, which is really, really poor efficiency. So when you plug it into the calculator, yeah, you could save as much as $700. All right, depends on how many miles you're driving, of course, and it depends on how much your gas and energy costs. So you could be saving about $700. Now, there are certain power programs around the country that you can charge for free at off-peak hours. That's insane. I believe FPL does that now here in Florida. So essentially, you could get all your electric range done, assuming you don't need to recharge multiple times throughout the day. But you could charge it overnight, get all that cost taken care of by the power company off peak hours, and your costs to operate this vehicle could go down significantly. Now, this would be if you're only driving an electric, you could save $700, but it just depends on so many factors. It's not going to doubling your fuel efficiency, right? If you got 40 miles per gallon somehow in a Jeep, then we're talking about, hey, the electric costs actually cost more, but that's not the reality we live in. So thank you guys for watching. The Jeep is not perfect. I would love more range. It is expensive, but you can get crazy deals on them. It's just so fun to drive. The fun factor is through the roof. Literally, the roof opens. I love this Jeep. I'm tempted to put it in S tier, but it is a little bit compromised with the lack of range on electric mode. It's sky-high price, assuming you can't get a major deal on it. And the build quality didn't seem to be that great. And it does get very, very loud. But when you're cranking the tunes, that doesn't really matter. So I'll see you guys in the comments. I can't believe I loved the Jeep 4xe Willys as much as I did. Am I becoming a Jeep guy? I don't know. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm getting older and my preferences are changing. I don't know. I just really enjoyed my time with the Jeep Wrangler this week. So guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the comments. Have a great day and peace.